Hi, and welcome to Stamp with Ginny. Today we're going to make this fun, never-ending card using the Beauty Abounds stamp set found in the Occasions catalog and the coordinating Sale-a-bration Designer Series paper. So let me show you the never-ending card. This is side 1. You open it, and there's side 2. Open it top to bottom, and you've got side 3, and then pull from the center out again, and you've got side 4. So it's a beautiful card that you can share multiple sides and sentiments on. So let me set this aside and I'll show you how I got started. Okay, you're going to take your 4 pieces of cardstock that measure 3 by 6, and you're going to place them on your scoring tool, and you are going to put the long side against the top, and you are going to score at 1.5 and then again at 4.5, and you're going to repeat that for all 4 pieces. Okay, once I've got all 4 pieces scored at the 1.5 and 4.5 inch mark, I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to score just between the top of the cardstock and the score line, and I'm going to do that at the 1.5 inch mark. And what that does is divide these 2 panels in half, or the one large panel in half, into 2 pieces. And you're going to repeat that for all 4 pieces. And I'm ready to set my scoreboard aside. Okay, I'm going to take my 4 panels and I'm going to lay 2 this way and 2 the opposite way so that I can get ready to build. And I'm going to slide these 2 over and bring these 2 in. Now you can use a piece of washi tape if you want to hold these together, but I find just simply butting them up tight on my grid paper works. And then I'm going to take a little bit of multi-purpose glue, and I'm going to set some adhesive in each one of these 4 corners. Now I've got these panels over here, so I want to once again make sure this is up tight against each other, and what I'm going to do is line up that corner with my other corner. And I like the multi-purpose adhesive because it allows you to move some things if you need to, and line them up. And the important part here is that these 2 pieces are butted together in the center. It's okay if it overhangs slightly, you can trim that off, but you want that center butted up nice and tight. And then I'm going to bring this other piece in, and I am going to lay it down and do the same thing. Once again, making sure that center piece is butted up nice and tight. And now, because I've used the multi-purpose glue, I'm going to set this aside to dry. Okay, once that's dry, we're going to take our bone folder and we're going to score on the lines. So once again, you want this vertical line straight in the center here, and you're going to turn the right and left side out, and you're going to use your bone folder and press down those score lines, and then you're going to lift up. This will be side 3, and down, and you're going to use your bone folder and fold down those score lines. And then the last side is side 4, and you're going to turn right and left. Okay, so once again, this is side 1, and so we're going to start decorating. I do find it's easier to decorate one side at a time, and even cutting for one side at a time, unless you follow my chart and have everything cut ahead of time. But you will want to separate by mat size, and that's where we're going to begin. Okay, we're going to start with 2 black mats that are square and 4 that are rectangular, and you're going to adhere them onto your card. I'm going to start with the 2 black mats that are largest, and then I'm going to work on the 4 rectangular mats. Okay, so there are the 4 black mats that I've got, and I'm going to start adding my designer series paper here. Now this particular paper has some shade variances, so I'm going to make sure that I line them up the way I'd like them. So I'm going to start with my largest butterfly piece here. And adhere that down. This is going to be my sentiment here, and I can flip these over and begin adhering. There we go. So I am going to set my sentiment piece over here. For right now, we'll do the stamping all at one time. Okay, I am going to pull my right and left side out, and this is going to be my next piece. So I've got these two long rectangles here that don't have any division or score lines in them. Okay, I've got my pieces for side 2. I've got the black mats for these two large squares, 4 small squares for the corners, and 2 long rectangles for the center. So we're going to start adhering those. There we go. I've got the black mats on here, and I'm ready to add my designer series paper pieces. And I've got these 2 large butterflies that I'm going to add to the square pieces in the center. One there and one here. And if it matters to you, make sure your direction of your paper lines up the way you cut it, so it's where you want it. And then I'm going to take the opposite side of this, and I'm going to use the gingham on the rectangular portions. There we go. And the last piece, and then these 4 corners I'm going to stamp. So I'm going to set these pieces aside with my other until later. And we're ready to go to the next side, which you are going to open by lifting up and lifting down. And so now you're going to have 4 rectangles, 2 of which just came from side 2, and 4 small squares. So let's put the mats on those. Okay, I'm going to have 2 rectangular mats, and I'm going to have 4 square mats, along with the 4 square pieces of designer series paper and the 2 rectangular pieces. So let's put those together. I've added my black mats, and now I'm ready to move on to my designer series paper. I'm going to start with the 4 pieces that go on the little squares, and I'm using the black and white side for this. I thought the black and white worked well with the gingham, and then I wanted to highlight this pop of color in the center. Highland Heather pattern. There we go. So side 3 is complete, and we're ready to turn it to side 4. And so we're going to take these 2 center pieces and we're going to pull out to the right and left. And we're ready to start on side 4. So let me show you those parts. Okay, we've got the 2 square mats that'll go in the center and 4 rectangular mats, along with the 4 rectangular designer series paper, 1 square piece of designer series paper, and that square whisper white that we're going to stamp. So I'm going to set that aside. So let's assemble this. We'll go on this panel, and we're ready for our designer series paper. So I'm going to attach this first piece on the bottom here because I'd like to put my sentiment on the top. And this paper is directional somewhat, so you want to make sure that you've got your pieces going the way you want them to, if that's important to you. There we go. So we've got all 4 sides decorated and we're ready to stamp. So I'm going to set this to the side. I'm going to open it up to side 1 though, so that we're ready with that as we stamp. I simply love the sentiment from this set, so I am going to stamp that in the center of this first panel, and then I am going to bring in the large circles in the Grapefruit Grove, and I'm just pulling these colors from the paper, and I love the way that these dots will work and give you shades of the grapefruit without having to do anything. And then I'm going to bring my lemon lime twist, and I am going to bring that in and add a couple more pops there of color in the background. And this panel is ready to add to side 1. So we're going to add that right there on the right. And I'm ready to open it to side 2. And now we're going to stamp these 4 corners. I've brought my 1-inch squares in, and I'm going to use my 2 butterflies. I've got this large butterfly and the little butterfly from the set. And I am going to do 2 of each. So I'm going to put this first one here, and my second one. And then I'm going to come back with this small butterfly, and I'm going to put one flying to the right and one flying to the left to give me a little bit of a twist on that. And at this point, because I'm using my memento, I'm going to bring in my markers, and I'm going to use my Stampin' Blends to color my butterflies. Now the super thing about this paper that you can earn during Sale-a-bration is the fact that it has coordinating blends that go with it. So it's real quick and easy to pick up your blends and color in these butterflies. And of course you can use your color lifter if you color outside the lines, but I'm just going to do this quickly. And I'm coloring all 4 butterflies. I happen to be doing these solid. I'm not taking time to put any real variance on these wings, because they're beautiful just like they are. And I really want to focus on that beautiful designer series paper in the center. There we go. I'm going to move those to the side, and I'm ready to add. So I'm going to add some adhesive to these. The way you put your butterfly on your cards is up to you, but I'm going to set this little guy here on the left and the bigger one on the right, and then I'm going to alternate that, putting the small one here on the right and the bigger one on the left. And now I'm ready to open my card to sides 3, which of course we don't need to do anything to because it's decorated with that beautiful designer series paper. So the final side here is side 4, and it's a sentiment piece again, so I'm going to bring that piece of Whisper White cardstock back in. And this beautiful vine piece that we have in the stamp set, and I'm going to stamp that down the side in the tuxedo black, and then add the sentiment, "It's a million little things" to it, which is a wonderful sentiment to go with that outside sentiment about friendship. And at this point I'm going to do some coloring, and once again I'm simply going to color straight coloring. I'm not going to highlight anything. You can use the bullet tip or you can use the flare tip, whichever you're more comfortable with. Small areas like this are easier with the bullet tip unless you have a real light touch, and I happen to be doing all my little flowers in the same color. I'm using the light Calypso Coral for this one, because to me it looks like our Grapefruit Grove, which is the great thing about blends. The shades work well with everything. And then I've got my Granny Apple, and I'm going to pull in and do these little lined images that add a little flare. And I'm doing that, I believe this is the light, and then I'm going to pull back and use the Granny Apple Dark for the leaves themselves. And you can reverse that if you prefer, or you could add another color if you would like for that little area, but I wanted to keep it natural and looking like it was the vine that these beautiful flowers grow on. So there we go. I've got it colored. It's that quick and easy. And so I'm ready to add it. So I'm going to add some of the snail on the back of it and adhere, and that's side number 4. So let's start at the beginning here. We've got side 1, 2, 3, and 4. And of course, as you're building your card, you're going to be using those fold lines and those score lines repeatedly. Your card will flip over easier with each time you do that. So side 1, 2, 3, and 4. I know this is a little complicated, but once you put one together and you use my PDF to show you the 4 different sides, you'll find it easier to do with your second one. If you'd like any of these products, feel free to stop by my online store. You can get there from my blog, Stamp with Jini. Thanks for joining me.